Good evening. I'd like to call the Smyrna Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for October to order. We'll start off tonight with prayer and pledge of allegiance. If you would, please rise. Bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for tonight. Thank you for a beautiful day, a beautiful week so far, Lord. We ask that you continue to bless the town of Smyrna and the leadership and the representatives that are here tonight. We ask that you bless these proceedings and everything that we every decision that we would make would be the right decision in your eyes. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda we have is citizen comments, and I see none at this time.
That's correct.
Excellent. Item number 4, approval or correction of minutes of September 20th, 2018 meeting. I think there were some corrections from the first.
I had a correction on the first item of the new business last time, and I've got with Mindy, and there was an edit on the motion.
Okay, so with those edits, I think you added an additional stipulation that we had already discussed.
Yes.
Right? Anything else? If not, if they're in order, we'll take a motion to approve the amended minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended minutes.
Motion.
Because I'll second it.
And a second. All right. We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Obviously, there's nobody to vote nay. Number 5, new business. We've got 3 items tonight: temporary use permit, a special exception, and a setback variance. So we'll start with the temporary use permit for Tavia Campbell. Mitch?
This is a temporary use exception to allow a food truck at 45 South Lowry Street. Property is owned C2, General Commercial District, and is approximately 0.45 acres in size. Property is currently being used for auto repair, and the property has access to Lowry Street and Sam Davis Road. Applicant has stated they plan on utilizing the lot as is, not adding any more pavement. Section 4.030 of the Municipal Zoning Ordinance lists general requirements for a special exception request, and those requests and staff findings are as follow. As for the food trucks, all merchandise is located so that all fire codes are met. 2, merchandise, tents, carts, and trash shall be removed at the end of each day. 3, no cart, trailer, or other vehicle capable of being operated or towed on a public roadway are utilized. There are additional conditions for this specific use, and they are detailed below. 7.061.16, special conditions for temporary outdoor sales of food or retail merchandise. A, approval in writing of the owner of the subject property where the proposed use is to be located shall be included with the application. The owner may be the applicant. In this case, the approval has been provided for the proposed site as the applicant leases space at this site. B, the site shall be improved to provide adequate parking as determined by the BZA and shall provide for on-site turnaround area so that backing onto the street will not be necessary. In the event the proposed location will be on the site of an existing use or structure, the applicant must provide verification that the total site will continue to meet minimum parking requirements established in Article 4 of this ordinance. Adequate parking already exists at the location. No additional parking will be required. C, traffic control measures may be required by the Board of Zoning Appeals. These may include a requirement that the applicant make during provisions for directing traffic during expected peak hours of operation. Staff does not expect this to be an issue at this location. D, tents will be permitted provided they are erected in conformance with all applicable codes. Any such tents must provide emergency exit remote from the point of entrance to the tent. Tents must be located on a paved concrete or graveled surface, and in no event may be erected in a grass area. Tents must be maintained and in good condition, and applicant has not identified tents will be used, but if they are, they must meet all these applicable provisions. E, any site must be located so that all parts of the structure and inventory on site shall be no more than 500 feet from any operable fire hydrant. Proposed truck location is within 500 feet from operable fire hydrant. F, a site shall not be approved for more than 14 consecutive days at any one time and no more than 28 days in a 12-month period. Deposit in the amount of $400 shall be made with the town to ensure removal of all temporary structures and merchandise. In the event this removal does not occur in the time specified in the approval of the permit, the deposit shall not be refunded, and the town will remove the temporary structures and merchandise. The dates the applicant has provided with us that they will be in operation: October 23rd, 28th, 2018, November 6th and 20th, December 4th and 6th of 2018. For 2019, January 2nd and 6th, February 3rd and 13th, March 10th and 20th, April 7th and 17th, May 5th, 15th, June 9th and 19th, July 7th and 17th, August 4th and 14th, September 1st and 11th, October 1st and 6th, and that rounds out for 2019. That's, I believe, it is under the 28 days, so they are good in that case. G, adequate provisions shall be made for restroom facilities on site, and the applicant is renting the site location and has addressed this issue. H, there are no permit violations present at this property, so that condition is met. I, adequate provisions shall be made for solid waste management, and the applicant stated they will be utilizing trash cans, but there is also an existing dumpster on site, so this condition is met. J, the BZA may require additional standards may be met in order to assure compatibility for the proposed location with adjoining properties. Staff would not recommend any additional standards, and K is not applicable in this case, and the staff would recommend approval of this request. This is the site looking from the street onto the property, just from one angle of it, and then from the other side of the property, looking the other way. That is it.
Okay. Thank you, Mitch.
Yep.
All right. At this time, we will close the Board of Zoning Appeals and open a public hearing for anyone who would like to speak for or against this request. If you would like to speak, please come forward. All right, seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing and reopen the Board of Zoning Appeals for approval and discussion.
I have one thing to discuss, Steve.
Okay?
And maybe Mitch might need to answer this. When you were going down the conditions,
Yep.
you had mentioned, if I can find it, where was it
The
at?
restrooms. Is that
Yeah,
what-
the
it's G.
restrooms. G?
Yeah, 7G.
Yeah, you said they're renting the site and the issue about restroom facilities have been addressed. How is that addressed? Because it wasn't in the letter from the applicant, but so how is that addressed?
No, they are renting space at that, and she verbally told me, maybe she can speak to this, she's in the audience tonight, but she can address that, but she mentioned that customers would be able to use the restrooms that are in that facility.
Okay, and so, but the owner's letter didn't really say it's okay to use it, so
Correct.
you're good with it though?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that's, when you rent the property, it's all of the property, I guess?
Yep.
Okay, and I see that there's a dumpster on the site. Couple of points, I guess, that I want to make sure is, we've got 26 dates. 28 is the maximum. So there's still potentially 2 additional dates that this food truck could be at this location. And make sure that Ms. Campbell understands that in between the dates that the truck has to be removed, it can't sit there for the entire year. It has to come and go. It is a mobile food, right? So, other than that, I don't have any more questions or comments unless there's something.
Just for clarity, so it is over 12 months, so are you approving the 13 months that are listed, because that is 13,
Yes. Well,
13 months?
It's with
Yeah,
that
because she
12-month
included this
period.
month, and then, well, she included this month, like the end of this month and the beginning of 2019, October, so it's still,
So you're still
within
counting that as a 12
yes.
month?
So we'd be going
Yeah,
from
it's-
today's
it's
date.
our- It's 1st and 6th, so it's within
Okay,
that
so it's still within the month.
365
Okay.
day, yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve this request.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. That's a good question. I just had a question from the gallery about a business license. Do we know if they already have a business license? You want to come to the
For-
microphone? We'll.
Oh. Yeah, she came actually last week to get a business license, and I didn't want to provide her with a business license before y'all approved it.
Right,
So
I
she
got
can
you.
come tomorrow and get a business
I
license.
got you.
We'll sign
Okay,
off
so
on
just
it.
make sure that's been taken care of as well.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion carries and it was approved.
Thank you. That's it.
Yep, you're finished. Thank you.
I can set up at another place, and I'm allowed to use their dumpster and restroom. I need to bring another letter, right?
That's correct.
You can
And-
come back next month for it.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll
Cool.
have to come back next month, just like this,
This-
with the
okay.
dates of the new location.
Okay, cool.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, next item on the agenda is the special exception request for Plumbing Solutions, Weekly Lane.
This is a special exception request to allow contract construction services use in the light industrial district at 133 Weekly Lane. Property is zoned light industrial and is approximately 2.42 acres in size. Applicant will be using the suite at this location for an office space for his business, Plumbing Solutions. Section 7.060B of the zoning ordinance detail the requirements for authorizing special exceptions. They are detailed below. Let's see. For general requirements, a conditional use special exception permit shall be provided. The board finds that it A, is so designed, located, and proposed to be operated so that public health, safety, and welfare will be protected. Staff finds proposed use of contract construction services will not negatively affect health, safety, and welfare of the public. B, will not adversely affect other property in the area in which it is located. Staff finds proposed use should not adversely affect other properties in the surrounding area. C is within provisions of special exception as set forth in the ordinance. Section 5.053.1C lists contract construction services as special exception in the I-1 district. D conforms to all applicable provisions of this ordinance in the district in which it is to be located, as well as provisions cited in section 7.060 and 7.061, and is necessary for public convenience in the location plan. Staff finds the site may be able to conform to all provisions of the municipal zoning ordinance as listed in criteria review section 7.060C. Criteria for review: prior to issuance of a special exception, the board shall make written findings certifying compliance with the specific rules governing individual special exceptions, and that satisfactory provisions and arrangement have been made concerning all of the following where applicable. 1. Ingress and egress to the property and proposed structures thereon with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control, and access in case of fire catastrophe. Access to the site will utilize the existing ingress and egress, which is located off of Weekly Lane. 2. Off-street parking and loading areas were required with particular attention to items 1 above and the economic, noise, vibrations, glare, and odor effects of special exceptions on or by adjoining properties and properties generally in or near the district. Staff finds the lot provides sufficient space for parking in this instance. 3. Refuse and service areas with particularly referenced items 1 and 2 above. Refuse collection will proceed in the same manner as it is currently. 4. Utilities with reference to location, ability, and compatibility. This location has all the necessary utilities available at the site. 5. Conditions or screening and buffering with reference to type, dimension, and character, which is not applicable in this case. 6. Signs of any and proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic, safety, economic effect, and compatibility and harmony with properties in the district. Staff finds the proposed general business service will fit the use, the compatibility with the properties in the same district in reference to the above effects. Required yard and other open space. Staff finds there is adequate space on this lot to support this business in addition to the other businesses present at the site. 8. General compatibility with adjacent properties and other property in the district. Staff finds the use may be compatible with adjacent properties as there are other commercial uses present at the site as well. 9 is not applicable in this case. Staff would recommend approval of this request. Just for a little background info for you guys, there currently are 12 businesses present at this on the same parcel, addresses of 131 through 133 Weekly Lane. 6 of these businesses have attained BZA approval. 4 of them are in there by right in the I-1 district. Plumbing Solutions is currently operating at this location. They have not attained BZA approval, but they are here to gain approval for that site. There is currently one other business present at the site. We figured this out, staff figured this out yesterday, that is operating at the site, doesn't have a business license and doesn't have BZA approval, but it should. So we are attempting to take care of that at this time. But that's currently what's operating at the site at the time. That is it.
So, one question. I noticed on the applicant's application
Yep.
versus what's showing up on the report, it's actually got 131 versus 133. I know it's the same
Yeah,
two buildings,
yep.
but probably just want to make sure we got the right
can
one
adjust that,
and
yeah.
match it, whatever it is. Okay, we will close the Board of Zoning Appeals and open a public hearing for anyone who would like to speak for or against this request. Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing and reopen the Board of Zoning Appeals for discussion. I will start off by saying I received one phone call related to this request. The plumbing company is already operating there, and there has been a couple of occasions, I guess, while they've been there where early morning loading and unloading of the plumbing trucks, and even, I believe, a safety meeting was held in the parking lot between the buildings. And the applicant, or the person who called me, was just letting me know that it had caused some parking issues for some of the other businesses when they did that. I think they've talked to the plumbing company and they've made some adjustments. Mitch said that him and Kevin both had gone by there and didn't see anything like that, and seemed like parking was fine.
This picture right here,
Yeah.
just for your information, was taken at 2:30 this afternoon, showing there is still adequate parking available at the site, even at this time of day. Kevin mentioned he was out there early yesterday morning, and there was no issues as well. So,
Okay. I do know that the building has roll-up doors on the backside, so they have the ability to load and unload in the back, as well as they have, with 12 businesses, they probably all have 4 or 5 parking spots that are kind of assigned. So we may want to consider, as part of our approval, something related to, loading, unloading being done in the rear of the building, or limit parking to parking places or something like that. But other than that, I didn't hear or see any other issues. Unless you guys have something you would like to discuss. You said there's one more, and you guys are approaching that business, as you said, so
correct.
that's good, good. Get them all in compliance.
Yep.
Nothing?
No, I would agree with you. That loading would have to happen in the back to keep the right of way in the front
Okay,
clean.
all right. And in that case, I'll make the motion. We'll make a motion that we approve this request with the stipulation that loading and unloading happen in the rear of the building. And we got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
And a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved with the stipulation. Mitch? The last item, not last item, the next item on the agenda is a setback variance for Gary Cooper and City Switch.
this is a request for a setback variance to install communications tower along with the equipment nearby on CSX property near Nissan Gate 9 entrance. Property is zoned I-3, which is heavy industrial, and is approximately 151.5 acres in size for the entire parcel. The leased area that is available to City Switch is 2,888 square foot. Minimum setback requirement for self-supporting tower shall be 50% of the height, and equipment shall be set back 50 feet. The proposed tower is to be 160 feet in height, which would require setback from all property lines of at least 80 feet. As proposed, setback variance of 57 feet 6 inches to allow a setback of 22 feet 6 inches from the nearest property line is requested. 7 proposed and future equipment areas are requested, which will require a request of 57-foot variance to allow the equipment sheds to be as close as 3 foot from the property lines. Section 3.160 details the minimum standard design for communication towers. They are as follows. A, standards for telephone, telegraph, and communications transmission stations and towers. All transmitter stations, including towers and operating equipment located within Smyrna, shall adhere to the following standards. 1, no building or equipment in connection with transmitter stations and or towers shall be located nearer than 50 feet from any adjacent household, leasehold line and or property line, wherever such are contiguous. 2, transmitter stations including towers and operating equipment in connection therewith not meeting the requirements in subsection 3.160A1 above shall adhere to all of the following conditions. A, no building or equipment in connection therewith shall be located nearer than 50 feet to any leasehold line and or property line when such are coterminous. B, all towers with a height of 150 feet from base to top or more shall be connected in accordance with Electric Industries Association Standards 222E 1996, utilizing a wind rating of 90 miles per hour plus ice loading for Smyrna, Tennessee. C, all towers shall be set back from property lines by a distance that is equal to 1 for a guided tower 20% of the height, and for a self-supporting tower in this instance of 50% of the height. D, all applications for permits to build towers in Smyrna must be accompanied with a determination of no hazard from the Federal Aviation Administration, as well as required Federal Communications Commission permits information. E, all such towers adjacent to any residential zoning district shall be screened and buffered adjacent to a chain link fence that is at least 6 feet tall. Such screening shall be opaque in a 2-year period. F, all telecommunications towers must be completed surrounded by at least a 6-foot chain link fence. All the above requirements can be met and at this location except for the setback requirements. Section 7.080D of the zoning ordinance details requirements for variances not involving special flood hazard areas, and they are detailed as follow. B, standards for variances not involving special flood hazard areas. The board shall not grant a variance unless it makes its findings based upon the evidence presented as it follows. 1, the particular physical surroundings, shape, topographic conditions of the particular property involved that would result in a particular hardship upon the owner as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict application of this ordinance were carried out must be stated. Staff finds the portion of the lot is an irregular, narrow shape that would make placement of any communications tower and equipment difficult to locate. According to the applicant, when I spoke to them, they said Nissan dictated the location of this tower to be located as far north as possible on this property, and that happens to be in this narrow portion of the lot. 2, the conditions upon which the petition for a variance is based would not be applicable generally to other property within the same district. Applicant has identified the shape of the property as the hardship in this case. 3, the variance will not authorize activities in a zone district other than those permitted by this ordinance. Staff finds the existing use is allowed by right in the I3 zoning district. 4, financial returns only shall not be considered as a basis for granting the variance. The property owner has not identified as financial returns as a reason for requesting this variance. 5, the alleged difficulty or hardship has not been created by any person having an interest in the property after the effective date of this ordinance. The parcel shape was not created by the applicant. 6, the granting of the variance request will not confer on the applicant any special privileges that is denied by the ordinance to other lands, structures, or buildings in the same district. Staff finds that the variance request will not provide the applicant with any special privileges denied by the ordinance to other lands, structures, or buildings in the I3 district. 7, the variance is the minimum that will make possible the reasonable use of the land, building, or structure. Staff finds that the land will make it difficult due to the narrow shape of the lot for any kind of other use. 8, the granting of the variance will not be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the area in which it is located. Staff finds that the proposed variance may be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the area due to its close proximity to residential structures behind the parcel. The closest resident is approximately 150 foot from the base of the tower where the tower is being proposed. 9, the proposed variance will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property, substantially increase the congestion in the public streets, increase the danger of fire, endanger the public safety, or substantially diminish or impair property values in the area. Staff finds the variance may affect the public due to its close proximity to the residential structures as listed below. It's located approximately 105 foot from the nearby residence. 10 is not applicable in this case, and staff would recommend approval of this request due to the narrow shape of the parcel and the location where it's determined to be placed. In your packets, you have several pictures as to show where the particular location is for this parcel. The last picture just shows the overall size of the parcel, and the first couple ones show the exact location of where it's to be placed on that parcel. This is at the site today. The proposed site for this tower is to be located within that chain linked fence, and that is it.
I understand, based on your note, the property is owned by CSX.
Correct.
But this is where, so CSX is okay with the placing of this,
To my knowledge, after speaking to
Okay.
the applicant, yes.
and then Nissan was also involved, I think, the towers to support them.
Correct.
And this is, they wanted as far in that corner for coverage purposes, right?
I'm not sure, I can't speak that, maybe the applicants can
Yeah.
speak to that.
So we'll close the Board of Zoning Appeals and open a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak for or against, please come to the microphone and state your name and address, please.
My name is Gary Cooper. On behalf of City Switch, I'm the director for the company. I live in 27 Cascade Road in Arnold, in Annapolis. I've just got a couple of things to add to what Mitch has said here from the staff side. Yes, it was Nissan that really dictated the location because of their operational. It's a very, very secure site, as you probably know better than I do. So they really wanted us as far north as we could possibly go. CSX owns the property. There's various easements there. We have master agreements with CSX. We also have for this particular site a ground lease now executed with CSX. This site is to support T-Mobile in the first instance. They have a very significant indoor coverage issue at the Nissan plant, numerous complaints. They've got a wider issue with 5G coming up in the overall. Almost half of Smyrna to the east is looking like it's not going to cope well with 5G. So this site is going to support the plant primarily, but also those communities, particularly north and east of the plant. Nissan's using the tower. I don't know if I told you that, but they are installing a state-of-the-art RF tracking system which tracks every part of a car through the plant. So they're using the tower to install equipment, so we're giving that to them. We have been told that other carriers are interested, so it will support further carriers in the future, less towers obviously if we put them here. And thanks Mitch for noting the FAA. We have indeed got that notice served. There is no lighting required. We have to time out with NEPA and SHPO before they can formally issue us the actual notice.
Understood.
So that's all I had.
Any questions for Mr. Cooper? No? Thank you, sir.
Sure.
All right, this time we'll close the public hearing and reopen Board of Zoning Appeals for discussion.
I've got a question. They're surrounding I-3 properties, and then there's a separation between, after that, the residential, right? Is that how it is? Because I see the aerial.
Yeah. On the map, that last page, the properties that are on either side of the proposed location of this are zoned I3. That property behind it's zoned R5 for the mobile homes. So that is what your surrounding zoning looks like, but everything else surrounding it is industrial.
And you said okay, so this is built, can something be built in those other properties up, they'll have their own setbacks and stuff, but are we good with their setback distances? If this is put at this location, will it interfere or hurt their ability, the surrounding property? Is it all Nissan? I don't know.
I do believe most of it is Nissan surrounding. I'm not sure off the top of my head exactly who owns what parcels around there.
Okay. And then something about 105 feet from the property line. You make two statements in here, which kind of like draws my attention. Is staff finds the variance may be detrimental to the public welfare, but then you say the closest residence is 105 feet from the base. Then you say the very next one, staff finds the variance may affect the public due to the proximity. And then talk about the closest being 105 feet. So what's meant by that, I guess? It's when you say detrimental
just
and
due to the
all that.
close location to those mobile homes behind it, all those residents. I'm no real estate agent, but it may have effect on their property values. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's what I was getting at with that statement. due to the proximity also, if tower ever came down, landed on that side,
Were those residents in those mobile homes, I don't know if they're renting the spot or it's their property,
Yeah, I'm not
but
sure.
were they notified of this tower going in and,
didn't send any letters out to them,
okay.
so.
There was a sign though, right? For,
There, didn't put a sign out there, it's, would have had to
Pretty
put it
remote.
on that parcel, and there's no one else getting back there aside
Gotcha.
from Nissan employees.
okay. So I can tell you personal experience, I live in Cobblestone subdivision and there's a tower, less than probably 200 feet from my house, and it hasn't hurt my property values, at least a tax assessment. So I don't know if it would. And honestly, it would probably be more of a benefit for
Long run.
potential T-Mobile customers and 5G implementation.
There's just potential is what we're getting at,
Yeah.
so.
And other carriers
Right.
down the road.
Okay. Any other discussion, concerns? And if not, I'll entertain a motion. Do you have a motion, Stephen?
I'm not gonna make a motion.
Okay. All right, I hear reservation.
Yeah.
All right, how about you? You got a motion?
I'm
I'll
thinking
make a
of-
motion to approve
Okay.
based on the shape of the parcel and the space needed to do that.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? I'll second it.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And all those opposed.
I'll pose.
All right, so we have a 2-to-1 vote.
It still passes.
It still passes. All right. The next item on the agenda is staff comments or other. Mitch, anything?
All good.
All right, we have nothing. Otherwise, we will adjourn. Thank you.
All right.